This past Tuesday night was the last episode of ECW on Sci-Fi, and I'm happy that it's over. I was fortunate enough to be at Tommy Dreamer's last match in a WWE ring. Tommy Dreamer was one of my favorite wrestlers. Um, when he left, you knew ECW was done. You can't have a company called Extreme Championship Wrestling that was a huge cult following, and it really was because I wasn't a fan of wrestling anymore. I'm not going to say I wasn't a fan. I just didn't care as much as I did when I found ECW. When I found ECW was around the time that Cactus Jack was there, and it was Tommy Dreamer was feuding with Raven, and the Pitbulls were feuding with Raven and Richards, and there was a lot of good stuff happening around that time. And then the first pay per view, and being able to go to a lot of the Elks Lodge shows, which if anybody that knows ECW, the original ECW past, will tell you that the Elks Lodge shows were some of the best. The crowd, the New York crowd, which I'm a lifelong New Yorker, will tell you that the Elks Lodge crowd was always hot, and that place was always packed. And you might hear all these crazy stories, and they're all true. The riots after shows, just the Dudley Boy heat was unreal. I was at One Night Stand as well, the first One Night Stand, and it was a beautiful thing because, once again, ECW was a cult. It was a really tight niche. That they did it in New York was something special because there were people there that I remember hanging out at the Elks Lodge with and talking wrestling with, and seeing them there was a beautiful thing, and I was happy. I was like, wow. And seeing Danny Doran, guys like Danny Doran and Roadkill, Kid Cash, and Little Guido, Maritato, Nunzio, whatever I loved it, and it was great to see Chris Jericho come out with the old Lionheart pants. It was a really nostalgic and good feeling. And when they brought back ECW full time, there was a part of me that was like, yeah, because I had heard that they signed Balls. I had heard that they signed Danny Doran and Roadkill. By the way, the tag team champions that they never acknowledged in the WWE. Rob Van Dam, Sabu. They gave all these guys a shot. Axel Rotten, even, I believe, right, was signed. I might be wrong on that one, but I believe Axel Rotten was signed as well. They bring all these guys in, and within a matter of months, one by one, I believe Danny was the first one gone. Roadkill they kept on, and then the next thing you knew, they were all the ECW originals were gone. And the only shining light that they had to me at that time was they had CM Punk and Rob Van Dam. At the time, I know they would think working to bring CM Punk in, and I really would have liked to have seen a CM Punk Rob Van Dam one-on-one match, and they really didn't do it. Bobby Lashley as an ECW champion, big mistake. Big Show as ECW World Champion, big mistake. Vince McMahon as ECW World Champion, that pissed every die-hard 1994 to 2001 ECW fan off, and it could have went somewhere really good. It could have went to Sandman and Vince, but of course, Vince being smart, well, not smart, but Vince being Vince, I wouldn't want to put my body on the line with Sandman either, and but they could have did a lot with it. They really could have did something really good with it, and it just wasn't the same. They toned it down. They wanted Sci-Fi wanted zombies and vampires, which that's what Sci-Fi does. If you don't know what the TV station is, it says it in its name, Sci-Fi. Imagine greater. The only person I think would have been awesome there would have been Tajiri and Mikey Whipwreck from the original ECW, and did something really cool there. They had a lot of good young talent, and I think they had the right idea, but they weren't giving them the right time to stay there. Christian was the last ECW champion. I know Ezekiel Jackson pinned him for the belt, but honestly, Christian was the last champion. Having Tommy Dreamer have a run, good for Tommy. That was yet a very exciting thing for me, especially as an old school, die-hard ECW fan. I was very happy to see Tommy Dreamer win that belt, and it was really nice to actually see him have a little run with it. Whenever somebody got really popular, CM Punk, Kofi Kingston, they moved them. which is fine. You know, they get popular. You don't want them on the B, one of the B show, the C show. Actually, if you want to be, the truth is, ECW was the C show, and Superstars being the D show, and SmackDown being the B show. If that's how everybody wants to put them in, of course, Raw being the A show. You know, it just kind of was unfair. They never built anything. There wasn't enough build to certain things, and especially towards the end, where Goldust was always the main focus. And Regal, they could have did a lot with Regal, and they didn't. And I'm happy to see ECW go. It just sucked that they had to bring it back the way they did and bury it and defile its legacy. That kind of hurt as somebody that waited in line for 8 hours in the freezing cold the day after Christmas to go see an ECW match and watch Taz come in with the world title for the first time in New York. And even, I mean, I can't imagine what the Philadelphia fans felt, you know, when they started seeing that shit and those 3 letters that meant a lot to a lot of people. And then, and all these other big time wrestlers could, oh, it was a bingo hole. You know what? It wasn't. There's a lot more behind it than bingo hole, just because they played fucking bingo in places. Make it a bingo hole, in my opinion. It just sucks that the legacy of ECW had to be shitted on. And I'm serious. To me, it was shit on. But I'm happy that no ECW originals were there to the end of its demise. And I'm happy that all of them got out. And they could all say, well, I tried to be there, and obviously it didn't work. And it was nobody's fault. It wasn't Tommy's fault. It wasn't Sandman's fault. Or anybody. Just bad managing on trying to make something kid-friendly or whatever. And I understand it's the era of PG-13, which is fine. You know, PG. And, you know, it's understandable, you know. Things have gotten a little raunchier. You know, I was looking back at some stuff from the early thousands. And, you know, there's some things where I'm like, oh, I'm shocked that they had that on TV. But, you know, as older fans, that's why we have the independents, and that's why we have places like Ring of Honor and Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and even Shikara, which is very entertaining. And, you know, let's just hope that when Ring of Honor hangs it up, it stays hung up. Let's hope if Shikara ever hangs it up, Shikara stays hung up as well, and Vince just keeps his hands off of it and lets the dead be the dead. It's all will work.